What's up, guys? Welcome to TFGoose Gaming. I'm TFGoose here at Vendetta, and this is the Mage section of our Deckbuilder series. Hurrah!
Pew 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 pew.
That's right. If you guys, again, if you're not familiar with the series, we're just going to show you a couple of different deck ideas, one sort of lower budget and one higher budget that we've been using lately to chew through and get some gold from quests and such. Not the super end-all be-all of all decks, mind you, but just some ideas using the cards that we've got, and maybe it'll spark something for you and show you some gameplay with the decks in the background. So to start things off on the low side, we're going to kick it off with Arcane Missiles, I think. Yeah?
Yeah, Arcane Missiles. This is one cost. It does 3 one-hit random projectiles. It's this is an interesting card because I think in the beginning it can be really useful when you have lower health minions, although that RNG component sometimes can turn around and bite you, but overall it's a good card.
Yeah, exactly. It's especially good if you only have to hit the guy, hit the target one time, then it's a reasonable likelihood it's going to happen, and this is a popular card. Moving on, next card we want to look at is probably the most mana-efficient burn, is Frostbolt. This card is great just because it's got the direct damage, but it also leaves anything that's left alive frozen. So a lot of utility built in, and at 2 mana, this is just one of the best cards I think the Mage has.
Absolutely. Yeah, for 2 mana, this thing is fantastic. There's almost no reason you shouldn't run 2 of these in your deck at all times.
Yeah, I totally agree. And then, so we'll do a couple of standard cards in this deck as well. Of course, one of our favorites, Acidic Swamp Ooze. This guy is just a great solid 3/2 minion. It can blow up a weapon. We use him in pretty much all of our decks, and I think he's important to keep at least one copy of.
Yeah, because he's in Rage, and you can ping him yourself and get that 5/2 creature on the board.
Oh no, that's Imani. This is the Swamp Ooze.
Oh, just kidding.
Yeah, but speaking of the Imani, we're going to talk about that one next. Yeah, it's okay. He doesn't listen to me either, guys. No. No, yeah, the Imani is a great card for the mages for that reason, because you can use your power and actually tick them off yourself. And that's why a lot of times in rage cards in general can be really solid for a mage. But this is just one we don't typically run, but in this deck I think it works quite well. So, and then after that, kind of a staple favorite, right?
Yeah, Fairy Dragon, 3/2, can be targeted by hero powers or spells.
Yeah, solid. This guy usually survives to do the damage where you want it to go, and that's the staple, greatness of any creature that you want. You want that sucker to hang around and do what you want him to do, and this one does it. Moving on then, though, is Sorcerer's Apprentice. This one, not necessary to carry, but pretty sweet, especially if you're going to run with a lot of spells. Getting that reduced spell cost is excellent, and given the fact that, again, it's still a 3/2 for 2, so it passes the sort of vanilla test for being a good creature, and it just does a lot of work, and especially in Mage here, where it's super, super, super heavy on spells, this guy can help out quite a bit. And then after that, little draw power, right?
Yeah, we got some Arcane Intellect. It's 3 mana, draw 2 cards. We got 2 of these in this deck just to kind of help cycle through our cards faster and kind of fish out, see what we need for, any given situation. So just some good draw power there.
Exactly. And in the same vein of draw power, I went ahead and threw in an Acolyte of Pain here for the same reason. This guy is excellent for getting some cards, and especially, again, in Mage, you can even ping him yourself if you want to get a card and guarantee that you get at least one out of him, in case he gets silenced or something, which doesn't happen that often, really, but it can. So keep this guy around for that reason and move on through the deck to find the better stuff. And then we move through the deck some more, then maybe you'll find this guy. Pretty much a staple favorite, right?
Yeah, Harvest Golem, 2/3, Battlecry 2/1 after he dies. This is probably one of the most popular cards in the game.
Yeah, this card is so crazy. In fact, I'm really scared that Blizzard's going to nerf it just because of how popular it is in virtually every deck. But it's the sign of being a great card. It doesn't necessarily mean it's overpowered. It just means it's a great card, So why not? Keep it around. And then after that, we do have another Rage creature in this deck, the Raging Worgen. This guy, again, same reason, to keep him around. You can pop him yourself and tick him off, but this guy actually picks up Wind Fury as well, which I don't have to tell you can really change games in a hurry.
Yeah, potentially an 8 damage creature for, 3 mana is amazing.
Yeah, exactly. So he's a lot of fun, and I enjoy having him here in pretty much this is pretty much the only deck, maybe besides a warrior, that I would want to have him in personally. So, and then what do we have after that?
After that, we have an oldie but a goodie, Shattersun Cleric, 3/2 with a buff of 1/1 to any minion. This is an old favorite. Again, it's just that buff power is really good in this deck. So we threw 2 of them in here.
Yep, does a great job. That battle cry messes with the math. That's what it's for. So, and then moving on from there, another spell, a couple spells here in a row actually. Fireball. This is the card that's basically in every mage deck ever created. And if it's not, I'd really, really want to hear your reasoning. But this is great, obviously, for direct damage to the hero or for turning off a troublesome minion. Definitely carry 2, and there's really no excuse to not do that. The next one, though, actually is kind of hit or miss. It's not necessarily in every mage deck, but I like to throw it in my low, the polymorph spell. This is great for just being hard removal, you know?
Yeah, it's great for late game, early game. It's kind of versatile. The only kind of downside to this card is it leaves a 1/1 creature on the board, which, isn't really that big of a deal, but,
Yeah, it could be better, but then again, it is 1 less cost than Assassinate, and not to mention, because it leaves that 1/1, it also disables any death rattle that's on the creature, because it does change them into a sheep.
Right.
So it is good for that too. So there's some upside as well. Moving on from there, though, we get to one of my old favorites, the Chillwind Yeti. This guy is just a fantastic neutral minion. That health is just so critical to have at the 4 slot. It's really, really tough for the enemy to get rid of that. And Chillwind Yetis they just win games all by themselves sometimes. They're really, really solid. We like them a lot. And then moving from there, though, is a creature that's not as popular anymore. But I'm still hanging on with, right?
Yeah, the Dark Iron Dwarf. If you guys have been watching our videos here, you'll see kind of a theme. We have lots of Dark Irons, at least one in every deck. I still find utility at the 4 slot. It's a 4/4, and you can give a minion a temporary +2 battle cry. It's still a good creature.
Yeah, exactly. And it's still, like you said, it's still a 4/4 for 4. So good body for the mana, so why not? And getting that little temporary buff is still a positive thing. And speaking of ones that we always carry too, is the next card, a common theme in our decks, Defender of Argus. This guy is beast. I love him. And I basically would not even create a deck without a Defender of Argus unless it was a really, really super themed deck, But even then, he has his place. Being able to put up a couple taunts, stop some rush decks in their track. It's a great option to have, and I love him. So I can't say enough about this card.
Yeah.
I could talk about it the whole video.
Next up, we have the Water Elemental. It's a 3/6, but it also damages anything it touches. So
freezes anything it touches.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
It does damage anything it touches as well.
Yeah, I meant freeze though. Yes.
Yeah.
So this guy is really hard to remove because of the 6 health, and for 4 mana, this is an awesome card. It's hard to deal with from the opposition side, unless you direct remove it, and for a 3/6 creature, that's maybe you might not want to do that.
Exactly. And this guy's perfect for handling large problems, locking them down until you can deal with them another way. So really, really solid at the 4 slot. Picked up a couple of them here. And another great card, again, in this particular deck, in Mage decks here, Gurabashi Berserker. Excellent just because of that text there. And it's important to remember that's not an enrage. I've seen people still do this where they heal the card themselves thinking that they're going to, reduce the damage, and it doesn't help.
Yeah, that's an important distinction on this card.
Yeah, very, very solid card. And as is the next one, again, a staple favorite, Argent Commander. This guy's great. Big rush. Hit something for 4 and stick around. We love them. We carry a lot of them in our decks. I think you got them too. We'll see here in a minute. And then lastly, the big board clear, right?
Yeah, got to have a Flame Strike. It's just because of how this deck ended up working out, we kind of figured we needed some nice board clear to kind of round out the deck and the utility.
Exactly. So that right there is pretty much the low budget deck. So hopefully that gives you some idea here what you can do when you haven't had a lot of luck opening packs or made a bunch of stuff with dust. So moving on, though, we'll take a look at the high budget version of this and see what changes. All right, then. So on the high budget side, we're starting things off with the familiar card here, the same one as I did on the low budget. It's just Arcane Missiles, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much the same reasons as before.
Yeah, 2 of these. It's great 3 damage, random removal.
Yep, gotta like that. Does good work in the early game. Gotta enjoy that. So, and then After that, though, where you do start to break things up a little bit with the Mana Worm. This card, very, very popular in Constructed, for sure, just for being rushy and for getting something out quick. Pairs really well, actually, with Arcane Missiles, doesn't it?
Yeah, because it's going to go ahead and give a buff and more than likely clear the board for you. So it's a good combo.
Yeah, this is a really solid little card, and it can get obnoxious if it manages to keep, stay around for a while, but more often than not, it stays around long enough to get enough of a buff to take out someone else's 2 or 3 drop, and that's about it. So, but that's okay. For being 1 mana, you can't really ask too much of it more than that.
Yeah.
So, and then we just get our Frostbolt, right? Same as before, 2 mana. You gotta love this card. You got 2 of them here as well.
Yeah, it's really, really good early game direct removal. Also helpful late game because of that freeze effect.
Yeah, and remember, you can target the enemy hero on this too. So if your enemy hero has a weapon out and you don't want him to be able to use it that turn, go ahead and lock him up. It can definitely do work for you. So, and then speaking of weapons, of course, again, same reasons as before. We'd like to carry an Acidic Swamp Ooze, try and take care of enemy weapons, make sure that they don't become a problem. And, we only just have 1 of them here, and generally speaking, if you disrupt them 1 time with that flow, that gets the tempo in your favor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to break up the tempo. So yeah, moving on here, we have an interesting card. It's Blood Mage Thalnos. It's a 1/1. He also gives spell damage and draws a card.
Yeah, this guy is starting to dominate as the largely recognized best legendary, which sounds really weird considering you look at his stats and you're like, why? He instantaneously dies. But no one blows a silence on him, so you're going to get the card to replace him. And that very, very, very quick spell damage that you can get out can augment so many other spells, totally unexpectedly, I think is the key. And the fact that he replaces himself is just beast. So love Blood Mage Thalnos. Really nice card. If you happen to have opened him up, throw him in your deck. It's really solid, especially in Mage. And then after that, again, we have our Fairy Dragon. We love him. 3/2, can't be targeted. Why not? Make the mages, or make the minions take care of him. Make him die to AoE, whatever. But no direct removals. Absolutely love this card.
Yeah, then next up on the list, we have some interesting card draw. Dat Pagel.
Dat Pagel.
I think this is one of the players' favorites. It's certainly one of my favorite legendaries.
Yeah, I love this card. I think it's fun. It's got the best intro music for dropping a legendary in the game, in my opinion, because it's just so fun and out there, But really nice. And now that he's been fixed, because for a while there he was only functioning at a quarter draw power instead of 50%, which is really bad.
Yeah.
But enough people gathered data on it and actually proved through some statistical analysis that he was functioning improperly and proved to Blizzard that he was broke, which is pretty cool, actually. And then they, delved into it and fixed him. So now he's doing what he's supposed to, and he's a great, great addition to your deck for some card draw. So gotta love him. So moving on from there, we've got, again, our Sorcerer's Apprentice. Same reason as before, solid 3/2 for 2, and giving you the, the one-off, the discount for your spells is an excellent little utility, especially in the early game, I think.
Yeah, that's what we were kind of trying to synergize with by adding the Sorcerer's Apprentice, with the Arcane Missiles and the Mana Worms. I think it works well for this deck.
Yeah, does a great job. And then after that, we do have a kind of a fun card. This is a Blood Knight. This guy is just entertaining because the usage of Argent Squires and other Divine Shield minions are kind of prevalent, in the meta especially. You get your Scarlet Crusaders as well and things like that. This guy is really fun to just pop out and eat a shield and become a truly brute force really, really early. And that can be just great. It can really turn games around, and I enjoy that. I like having him around. We don't have anything really good to trigger him, supposedly, really in this deck, because I think you just got Argent Commander, and you generally don't eat that shield.
Yeah.
But this one's pretty fun. I dig the card. So, but moving from him, though, we got, again, the staple favorite, the old Harvest Golem.
Yep. It's
beautiful, beautiful card.
Yeah, he's a great card. We talked about him many times before. And then moving on from that, to get a little more rushy, we have the Wolf Rider. It's a 3/1 charge. This is, a lot of people play this as direct removal, or if you happen to have board control, it's just more damage. So really good.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. And then, of course, Fireball. Again, love this card. Rock something for 6, get it out of the way. 7 if you happen to have Blood Mage out.
Yeah.
Does good work. You know, a couple of these to the face do some serious damage to the heroes. So definitely, again, carry 2 of those. And then we do have a back-to-back here, our staple favorites, the Dark Iron Dwarf. Same reason as in the low-budget deck. 4/4 with a temporary +2 attack buff is still a reasonable card until we figure out something else better to put in the slot. I really like him here. I guess a Yeti would be fine too, but still excellent card.
Yeah.
And then after that, my favorite, right?
Yeah, Defender of Argus, +1/+1/+ taunt.
To the adjacents.
Yeah, to the adjacents. It's fantastic.
Yep, absolutely love this card and like to put him in everything. And then we've got a couple of Azure Drakes in the 5 slot. This works really well, again, for solid body for 5 mana. Not quite as solid as you'd like, but it makes up for it with, you know, the fact that it is a spell power minion, and you instantly draw a card, so it instantly replaces itself. Very, very, very solid, and we love this. It works very well in a spell-heavy deck as well, of course. So, and following him is a card that works well in about any deck, really.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, the old Faceless Manipulator. This allows you to copy any minion on the board. You know, this can be great to copy something from your side, or if the opponent pulls out something nasty, copy their minion.
Exactly, and you got to bear in mind, too, it's an exact copy of whatever that minion is in its current state. So if it's been buffed or damaged, you get an exact copy, just as it is when you hit the button. So very, very cool, and if you combo this with some really strong cards on your side, it can get really ridiculous really fast. And then moving on from him, one of your staple favorites, I know. I think you've got this guy in basically every deck you've made. Perfect neutral minion here, Silverhand Knight. Great card, 4/4 and a 2/2 for 5 mana. Really solid, excellent target for the Defender of Argus. Excellent target for really any buffs, really. You know, I mean, you gotta love him.
Yeah, this is just one of my favorite neutral cards. I mean, I think you're right. I do have him in like every deck.
Yeah, really, really great. And there's a reason. Yeah, because it's a fantastic card, so why not?
Yeah.
And then speaking of fantastic cards,
The old Argent Commander. We got 2 of these in this deck. 4/2 Divine Shield Charge. We've talked about him many times. It's just a really good card. I'm sure you guys have seen plenty of him played.
yep, and again, for good reason. You know, this card gets to stick around and do its job, you know, typically twice. So you gotta love that. That's in essence a 2-for-1, and that's really what you're striving for whenever you play any card. So moving forward from him, again, we ended off my deck before with this card. This is a Flame Strike. This is just a board clear. Some mages like to run Blizzard instead, you know, in the 6 slot, which does 2 damage to everything and freezes them. Flame Strike is just more so to say, you know what, I don't care about freezing them. I just want to burn everything up. You know, the only drawback here is that Blizzard, you can play it and a 4-drop on the same turn, but this one is you're pretty much done when you play Flame Strike, but still, it can help you get back control.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
To keep control, we have your favorite guy.
Yeah, Ragnaros the Fire Lord. This is one of my favorite legendaries. Probably one of the top played legendaries, I would think.
I would think so, yeah. I think he's still very, very high, you know, on the list. But this one is huge. It's great if you manage to get him out, and then the next turn you can faceless him. It just gets ridiculous. And this is going to be a problem for your opponent. They're going to have to deal with it. So, and if you've managed to get Ragnaros out, you're not too far away from being able to pull out your final card here, which is Ye Olde Pyroblast. This is still a really powerful card, I should say. It was better at 8 mana, but it's still a beast at 10. And it does a serious amount of damage, obviously. And then you can spell power it up, too, maybe, if you have it on a previous turn, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So solid deck there, guys. That's the high budget deck. And hopefully you enjoyed the video here and gotten some ideas. If you have any suggestions on anything, leave them below in the comments. And otherwise, stay tuned. We got a few more of these for you. Take care.